All right, if we could have everyone's attention, please. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Connie, that means you. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ryan Lynch. I'm the county clerk here in Clark County. I just want to say that we really appreciate everyone being here and everyone being part of this process. Our elections here in Clark County really wouldn't be able to be as successful as we feel they are without people like you guys who are willing to put in the time. So we really appreciate you guys being here and being a part of this. Again, my name is Ryan. This is Angela. She's going to be running the show today. So if you don't mind, just giving her your undivided attention, and it should be a pretty painless night. So appreciate you guys.
Freezing? Okay. We'll talk about that in here, about dressing in layers for polling locations. Yeah. We won't go over this handbook. It has a lot of information in it. If you have a question, you can kind of look in the index of it, and it's just very useful. The Secretary of State sends that out to us every year, so I like to have that in everybody's hand. So I'll start off with, how many new people do we have? Okay, good. All right. Welcome back, and welcome to here. And being your first time, don't stress out. Everybody here has been here their first time, and they survived and they came back. So just know that. And when you're at your polling location, everybody pretty much works as a team and tries to help out and get everybody what they're supposed to be doing. So we're going to start off with the PowerPoint with the clerks. Don't have any new rules. Just if you have to take a phone call or something, if you'll step out to reduce the noise in here. First off, I'll tell you about the supply boxes. We send out I voted stickers, pins, black and red, paper clips, rubber bands, magnifying sheet, blank paper, just little scratch paper, nothing gigantic. Tape, letter opener, poll pad tape, excuse slips if somebody needs an excuse slip. There's little slips in there. And a pair of scissors. That's what is sent out if you need any of that. The inspector will have those. There's a signage kit that the inspector will probably have you all help put up with the Bill of Rights, electioneering, precinct maps, the polling location name, and that such. We ask when you do that, and the inspectors get the same, they get yelled at a little bit better, but if you put up the signs, and you can tape them up, obviously that's what we use. Just fold the tape back when you take those down at night, because we do try to reuse those. And when you fold it together and the tape's flinging everywhere, it sticks to everything except what it's supposed to stick to. So if you fold it back, it just makes it a little bit cleaner, and so that we can reuse it. Then next we have the poll booths. The little blue container here has 2 poll booths on it. So when you open it up, there will be 8 legs and 2 dividers in there to be set up, and the legs just kind of pop in together. If you're first time, there'll be somebody there that can help and tell you how to put it together. It's pretty simple. Next, we have the auto marks, which is our ballot marking devices for the ADA compliant. The inspector will put that up and turn that on. And that's if somebody needs the ballot to be in large form and the magnifying glass doesn't do it and they want to do it that way. Or if they need help marking it, they can use that machine. So those are there at each polling location. There'll be one of those. The ballot bags. The clerks don't have much with the ballot bags, but they do. They are in the bottom of the DS-200. They catch the ballots that are voted, and that's how they bring them back at the end of the night, the Democrat and the Republican. So I just kind of wanted to say that, and that's a picture of what we call a DS-200, where the ballot goes in to be counted. So it'll go in the top, and it'll calculate it, and it'll show that it's been counted. The number will go up, and it'll say accepted or something real fast, and it goes away. If it does pop up with a problem like overvote or a blank ballot, just ask for help with the judge, or the inspector can help you figure out whether to accept it or to deny or to reject it back to the voter. Next, we have the poll pads. That will be your main thing, will be the poll pads that we brought to be put on display and to help take apart, put up, show people the functionalities of them. There's nothing new compared to last time or anything, but the new people, you're able to come up after the training and we'll do hands-on. Each polling location is labeled. These happen to be the courthouses that we use for early voting. So that it does all fit in this big box and heavy. But there's different ones. There's Wi-Fi in each one. And there's a couple locations that'll get a cradle point. So you do have the Wi-Fi. Let's see. And we'll go through piece by piece. There's a PowerPoint for just that also. But this is just your reference guide. Shows you where the poll pad is and different things to have it signed on. And like I said, there's another training guide that we'll go over here in just a moment that will go in depth of this. But it will show you the check-ins. It shows you whether your printer is synced on. And we'll get a better look at that on the next PowerPoint. Sorry. Poll pad icons, the one we look at the most is the little green cloud that says sync status. If that turns red, the voter can still vote. It will process them. It will count them. It's just not sending that information back to our office. So if it's down off of on a red cloud for a while, we will reach out to the inspector for them to sync it back, or you can learn how to sync it back. It's just a matter of touching it and pushing sync and it'll push it back up. So don't worry, the voter can still vote. You don't have to shut down or anything like that. It's just a matter of we'll get it updated so everybody gets sent over to the office. And obviously the green for the printer connection, as soon as you turn it on and plug it in and turn on the poll pad, it automatically connects. If you have a problem, call the office, but usually that's pretty simple. Election day morning, all poll workers should arrive at the polling location at 5 a.m. We ask that you do not park close to the building. We want those parking spots for the voters. If you bring stuff and you need to unload, because I know some people bring coolers or whatnot, you can park up there, unload, and then just move your car if you would. Here's my dress and layers. Once you report to the polling location, you are there until the close of polls at 6 p.m. So we ask that you do dress and layers if you're a cold person. Some people do bring like a lap blanket to lay across their lap, because it could be cold in certain areas. I don't know the temperatures of every place. I know some of them are firehouse based, so I'm sure it could be warm or it could be cold depending on the weather. You will need to bring your own lunch and snacks and medicines or anything that you need, drinks or anything like that. Now, if you want to have somebody bring you food or bring you a drink, they can do that. They can just deliver it to you, but they just can't sit down and have lunch with you. Like, they can bring you in food or snacks or a drink. Because I can only imagine, when I get to the courthouse, I always want a drink. And then I'm like, who am I going to call to bring you a drink? So,
And the last couple of times they're gonna be just, even the clerks just stay until all the bags are ready to go, is that?
At the end of the night, yes. The
So we're
inspector,
actually staying past 6.
right. Getting the poll locations ready, the inspectors will administer the oaths inside the blue oath books. The Democrat judge will swear in the inspector. Clerks and judges will break the seals and open the poll pad cases, set up to the poll pads, and log on. Inside the actual poll pad is your passwords. They're on a little slip, about a half sheet of paper for the Republican and for the Democrat, and it will be inside the poll pad. If it is not inside the poll pad, ask the inspector. They also have it in their envelope too. We put it in 2 different places for the password to sign on to the poll pad. Ballots will be taken out of the DS-200 and the ballot bag will be placed inside to catch the voted ballots. And they don't want any ballots, which the clerks don't do much with that, but they're not going to leave the extra ballots inside of there while it's being voted. They'll all be pulled out and put on a table at the ballot table. Let's see, helpful setup tips. Keep the polling location organized to make voting easy and quick. Check-in should be easily recognizable with the poll pad, so when they walk in the door, you want them to know where to check in, and then you can send them to the table if your ballots are at a different table. Some polling locations will have the poll pads and the ballots set up together. The inspectors will be receiving kind of a generic setup that I'm imagined, but that's if everybody shows up on election day to work. So they may have to improvise with what they have, which is fine. We've done it for years. Keep tripping hazards to a minimum, like if when the poll pads, make sure the table's set up near the outlet if possible, and it's not strung out real far. I mean, there's some of them you do have to, but you do get extension cords and outlets. Power strips. Arrange tables so that anything that needs electricity, I just said that. If your location has one door for entry and exit, create a flow for check-in, receiving ballots, voting, and exit. Just so they don't get lost in a circle trying to get in and out. The inspector should have an area in mind where they can pull us out a voter if forms need to be completed. Voter ID requirements are listed here. They have to be an Indiana driver's license or an Indiana ID card issued in this state. They can use a U.S. passport and a military veteran ID. They also have to have a photo, name, expiration date on them also.
Sorry, is student ID?
No.
No.
Expiration date must be current or expired after the last general election, which is 11/5/24. It's a long time, but they can vote. If it expired 12/1/2024, they're able to use that ID. If you have questions, that you can call the office on that day, and we can help you figure that out if you have any questions on that.
Angela. So if it's expired, it will tell you to notify the voter that it's expired, but it still lets you go on.
Okay.
Because I've had like 3 of those.
Oh, really? Well, thank you. That helps out. I didn't know what it said, so it will tell you that it's expired. And then they're going to look at you and go, wow, I didn't know that because I've been there. Important. Do not turn a voter away from a polling location due to a lack of ID. You can stop the check-in and direct them to the inspector so they can call the office. We can get them to vote a provisional, and then they have so many days to come to the office to provide their ID so their ballot will be counted. So we don't want to turn them away just because they don't have an ID. Checking in voters. Ask the voter for their photo ID. If they do not wish their photo ID to be scanned, you can click on the manual entry, and you'll see that in the examples. There's a scan and a manual entry on the same page, and you'll just type in the first 3 letters of their last name and the first 3 letters of their first name. Minimal is the best. If you try to type in their whole name, it will not work, and we receive a lot of calls. And then once they enter those 3 of the first and the 3 of the last, it seems to pull up that voter. So if you just keep that in mind, I know it seems odd, but it does work. That's how they have it set up. Ask if the address is listed as correct. If yes, you'll click on address unchanged and confirm address. If no, you stop the check-in process, direct the voter to the inspector, and they'll be asked to fill out a 412. They have to fill out that 412 before they can vote. So you can't process them and go, oh yeah, you can do it later. No, they have to fill out that form before they can be processed. And the inspector has those forms in their binder, and they will know what those forms they'll need. And since it is a primary election, you will turn the poll pad towards the voter when you reach the party selection screen. So it'll say Democrat or Republican, and you turn that around so that the voter can pick which one. You do not pick what party for that voter, even if they tell you. You turn it around and you let them pick it, because once they pick it, that's the ballot they get. They cannot turn that ballot back in to get the other party because you picked the wrong one. So to keep that to a minimum, we have them pick it. Yes.
Can I go back to 2
Uh-huh.
and ask a question?
Yes.
So, last year, there was a couple of people who had moved.
Mm-hmm.
Their address had changed.
Mm-hmm.
They were registered voters,
Uh-huh.
but their precincts had also changed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was some confusion as to whether or not they can vote at their old precinct, or do they need to go to the new one?
They would vote wherever they're registered at in the system. So I would say it would be their old precinct, because they wouldn't They shouldn't know, unless they ask their neighbor where they vote on their new precinct, they usually won't know that until they get a letter in the mail.
So we do allow them to vote at their old precinct?
Yes, because that's where they're registered at.
Okay,
Because registration closed April 7th, so wherever you were registered before then is where you will vote.
okay.
Whether it be Scott County, here in Clark County, or Floyd County. So, yeah,
So even if they moved from a different county,
they have to go back to that county and vote, if that's where they're registered.
got it, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. If the voter needs assistance, there is a form, you'll have to send them to the inspector, and then a bipartisan team of a judge and inspector, or maybe even a clerk, if it depends on the location, will help that voter vote by reading the ballot, reading the candidates on there and marking it for them and assisting them on however they need assisted. And they can also bring someone with them and fill out this form for that person to assist them also. Once the check-in process is complete, if the ballots are at a separate table, give the voter the printed receipt. And if the ballots are on the poll pads, place the receipt in the provided poll pad receipt baggie. It's just a 1 gallon baggie. It's not real fancy. These will be returned with the election materials at the end of the day. Yeah, so if the voter needs to fill out any forms, just send them to the inspector area.
Angela,
Yes,
in reading about the 3-3,
yes,
they need to see the inspector first, right?
mm-hmm,
It's the same difference
At
with
an absentee board.
okay, and as far as the check-in, they'll bring them back to where they were, to the front of the line? Is that
The
what
pre-3
you're
they
saying?
can get when they get the ballot. They
Okay,
can be checked in
Yeah.
and get their ballot and then do the pre-3.
Okay,
Yeah,
so with the address, change, do they need
the
to?
412, they have to do that before they're
Right,
checked
but do
in.
we wanna back out of our system, or?
Yes, you
and-
don't hold the
And then
line
they
up.
have to get in line wherever the line is?
No, the inspector takes them back
Bring
to
them
the
back,
front of the line.
okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Yes. The ballot care and organization, and like I've said, the difference in the table, some ballots will be on the poll pad table, some of them will be separate. If you're at 4-H, the Charlestown, you'll have Chaz 4, Chaz 6, and Chaz 7. So in this election, you'll have 6 ballots. So if we have one table with 6 ballots, it could get kind of stuff get moved around. So the idea is to have them split up in between. One table has Chaz 4, both parties, Chaz 6, both parties, and Chaz 7, both parties, as if everything works out the same. But
That means you're gonna have 12 stacks of ballots, right?
6
Because you're gonna have a Republican stack and a Democratic stack.
for Chaz 4,
Okay.
and then Chaz 6 has a Democrat and a Republican, and then Chaz 7 has a Democrat and a Republican, so that's 6 ballots.
Oh, so you have 3 districts.
Yeah, 3 precincts.
I apologize. I missed-
No, you're all right. No problem. I was questioning myself because some elections there is a whole bunch more.
Yeah, I think
This
about
one-
How much room those would take up.
Yeah. But we just want to make sure everybody gets the right ballot and they get to vote for their person that's in their precinct, in their race, because some of them have different state reps on the ballot. So you just want to make sure that that voter is voting for who they should be voting for. You'll initial the back of the ballot using a red pen. Both parties need to initial the ballot. Do not initial an entire pack at once. That's also a thing. Ballots are wrapped in about 100 a pack. We don't want you to initial the 100 to save time, beat the crowd. Those make those live ballots. So you can have a few, if you get to know your polling location. I know the mornings are probably usually busier for all of them with a little bit of a line, but some of them you can initial them as the voter comes in. That assures that you don't have that many. I know some of the locations are larger. If we have enough teams, you should be able to initial them as they come in. But you'll kind of know as you go, and your inspector will kind of lead you in that path. But I went into a polling location, Charlestown High School, 2 years ago, and they had a whole table with just spread out with ballots, but they were initialing them all. But what precinct are we looking at? Because they were a mess. So we just tried to keep them organized and keep them safe, and want you to know, yes, you can.
And this isn't just something that we came up with. There's a completely different process that we have to do for ones that are initialed versus ones that aren't. The ones that are initialed, we have to account for every single one, and we have to dispose of those in a different way than we do the ones that aren't. So that just adds our office, which already has a ton of work to do. It just adds a little bit more to what we need to do. So it's just better if you can. Obviously, if there's a line, you fill out as you can, best you can. But we just don't want to. There's been times where we've gotten stacks of initialed ones,
The
and
balance of
they're
would never been
essentially
opened.
just and it just adds a lot more to it. So we understand that things happen, but we would appreciate it if we could kind of lower that amount.
So
Yes.
it is the clerks that do the initialing.
Yes.
They're doing the poll pad,
Mhm.
and they're trying, if the ballots are kept at a different table, it's usually the judges, I guess, that are bringing it over and having us do a few, but really, it is really kind of hard
Yeah.
to
That's-
do them as you go if they're not at the same
Yeah.
table.
My idea of how I planted the workers, you can ask Connie how many workers they dread me asking for, because I literally have a person at each poll pad. If you have 4 poll pads, I've gave them 4 clerks for the poll pads, and if they have 6 ballots, if they have 3 precincts, they have 6 clerks, 2 at each table, sitting as a bipartisan. But like I said, that's if everybody shows up and fills that spot. And so it'll be, so yeah, because we've had a lot of ballot confusion, and I don't want that to happen. I'm trying to make that not happen, but I know it's hard to get the workers. I know I get that, but I can dream. Okay, so then once they've got the correct ballot, you put that poll pad receipt in the baggie. They do not have to be in any certain order, just throw it in there. That's all I need. I'm not trying to check to see who voted before the other person. I don't care. It's just, that's how you find out what ballot they get, and it just needs to be put back in that baggie, and we keep it with all the election stuff. So this is a poll pad receipt here. How did it change? Okay.
I switched it.
Okay.
You put the
Sorry. Okay,
put it in
because
the
I
line
was
with
like,
the other ones.
it doesn't match up with my. Okay, never mind. I'm okay. Just threw me
Yeah,
off.
the earlier one.
Yeah. So, on here you have my ballot has my name and information, so it would pull up a Charlestown 3 Democrat ballot. So that's the ballot I should receive. On this one is Ryan's information. His is a Jeff 40 Republican ballot, so he would receive the Jeff 40 Republican ballot. That's all the information. Does everybody see where that's at on each of them on the receipts? You don't have to pay attention to where it says split 0 for Jeff 40, and for Charlestown 3 it says split city B. That has nothing to do with this election. That's a municipal election. So you're just looking for the precinct name and the party. And so here's the ballots. I'm so confused right now. That's not the right ballot. Okay, well, in the real one, this one was a Jeff 40 and this one was a Charlestown 3. So please do not pay attention to this. Does everybody have Jeff 40 and 3 in their pages?
Yes.
I see, okay, good. I didn't save the right thing to the flash drive. That makes me feel better. So, as you can notice, each ballot just has a front side this election. There's no back side to the ballot to be voted. So it keeps it simple. The Republicans is very full. The Democrats is 1 or 2 slots. So that's their ballots this time. So there's nothing on the back of any of the ballots. On to the next, the back of the ballot. So on the back of the ballot, unlike this one, you will just see the initials where you put your initials. And you'll have 1 Republican and 1 Democrat to initial that. And that's all that goes back there. So then we get to the close of polls. If there are voters in line at 6 p.m., the inspector may assign a clerk or a judge to go stand at the end of that line, because whoever is in line at 6 p.m. gets to vote. Anybody after that will be turned away and not be able to vote. But if they're in line at 6 p.m., they do get to vote. So we have totals, the clerks, if you're on a poll pad, you will take, if you have 3 poll pads and they each have 20 voters on them, you'll tell the inspector you had 60 check-ins, because you'll have to add them up, each poll pad. So hopefully that DS 200 says 60 voters. So then everything's easy peasy that evening. You don't have to really, the inspector and the Democrat judge will remove the ballot bag. That's not something the clerk should do unless none of the judges show up, I guess. But usually there's a Democrat judge and the inspector. Place all unvoted ballots. So if you have any unvoted ballots on those tables, take them back to your inspector, because they will put those in those machines and lock them up until we pick the machines up. The inspector may assign you to help with other tasks. She had mentioned that about resetting the polling location, like if you got to take down tables or chairs or anything, pick up try to leave the place like it was when you come in that morning. Take down the signs, put the poll pads together, take down the polling booths, and put those back up, because everybody wants to go home, and if you work fast, if you work all together, everybody will get out of there faster, because it doesn't take that much time. If one person does one of this and that, and you can get out of there real close to 6 o'clock, while the inspector and the Democrat judge try to get everything filled out so they can get back to the courthouse and back home. So wait till the inspector tells you that you can leave. Once they tell you can leave, you're out of there. Lastly, if you do not work at the location that you would normally vote at, please make sure voting early at either of our I did not change that. We only have the courthouse. So the courthouse is in downtown Jeff on Court Avenue, and it is open this week and next week, Monday through Saturday from 9 to 4. And you also have May 4th from 9 to noon, that Monday before the election. But it's only 9 to noon. But yeah, you have 2 Saturdays this time, or this coming week. And then the last one, the inspector binder will have more of information and more. So please use your resources, but you are able to reach out to the office yourself. You can reach out to us beforehand. If you have questions once you get home tonight and start thinking about something, you can call us before then. Our phone numbers are listed on the back. We have an office-wide phone number that rings all of the phones in the office, and then there's a line for each person. The one that's voter office is actually mine, but my name's not on there because I'll be downstairs during central count on election day, so don't reach out to me. Thanks. Yes.
If you work in the place where you normally vote, and go and vote that day?
Yeah, if you're working your polling location, you can vote that day. Yeah, it's just a lot of people get moved around and they're not at their polling location. So I just want to make sure everybody votes. Work in the polls, you need to at least vote before you get there. So yeah, but no.
Chance they'll add an additional location for early voting for the main election instead of just the house?
No, they won't.
It's problematic.
Well, and I understand we have reserved parking at the courthouse for 2 spots, because right now that's about the way that the voting is going. It will pick up in this last 2 weeks, but to staff another location during the turnout of this election is not sufficient. It takes a lot.
This one I mean for the fall.
No, because it's just, there's too much staffing to get out there. You have to have a number of staff, and we have to drag all the printer and everything. We do it during presidential usually if we can get a spot, because like we can't do the 4-H because they don't have internet. So there's we only have certain places, and like right now Tri-Township, where we've had it before, is under construction, so we wouldn't be able to have it there anyways if we wanted to. But staffing is an issue also. So if anybody would like to work the absentee board, let your chairs people know, because we can use people. Pull back. Yes.
People that need help with vote.
Mhm.
Someone comes in and can't speak English.
Mhm.
Is someone gonna help them, read the ballot to them, help them vote?
Hopefully one of your young people will have a phone and have a translator app on there, because that's what we do in the office, because none of us speak Spanish, and that's what we've done before when we've had Spanish speaking. We've just used the translator app. to figure out what ballot they use.
And they have to go read the ballot as well.
Right, but we can, if we assisted, we read the ballot through the translator and it would tell them what they were voting for, and then they would have to pick which person that they wanted to vote for.
They have a Spanish and English ballot, right?
No, we do not have a Spanish ballot in this area.
Oh.
Well, what if there isn't anyone? Well,
They can call the office and we can try to help. Yeah, if there's nobody there, they can call the office and we can try to help. Yep. All right, so next we're going to go to the poll pad training. We talked a little bit about the poll pad, but this will give you an up-close version of it. You can take these with you to Election Day. They're good to have. There'll also be a guide in here in case you forget it, because 5 a.m. does come early. But it's good to have these, just to have everything by you. So we're going to go through here. Okay, we'll start at opening procedures. So when you get there, you will want to turn on your hotspot. And there's a button. And we didn't charge this because we use the Wi-Fi at the courthouse. So you turn that on, and you can it has charger with it, so you can plug it up. But then you'll also want to unplug it at times because they shut down after when they're charging sometimes. That's been a problematic thing. So once all of them that you get that day will be charged. This one's just not charged because we're not using it. So that's your hotspot. So just make sure, and it doesn't have to be sitting right on top of your poll pads. It can be over at a plug in a corner where it can be by itself. If you work at New Washington or Hibernia, you will have a different internet connection called a cradle point, and it's way easier to use. But those were our two spots where we couldn't get internet to work on those. So.
Occasionally in the basement where I work.
Oh, American Legion.
Yeah, the American Legion, occasionally we have trouble, and I've called and somebody's come and done it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we have trouble.
I have a cradle point I can send out there. That's good to know. Because TJ shut down, because TJ was our other one that we had a cradle point at, because we got a couple from a different county. Opening procedures, your printer comes right out of the box. Underneath here will be your power cords. It plugs into the back of the printer, and then obviously plugs into the power. There is an on and off switch, so the lights will turn green. Most of the time when you plug it up, it will turn green because nobody turns them off. But just in case it doesn't light up, just make sure you try the on and off switch. The paper row is in here, and it literally just, paper goes to the bottom and just sits in there and loads the paper. And they all will have a full row of paper. So on to the next, that's the printer. The poll pad setup. This is where, if you need hands-on, you can come up here. This is the poll pad stand. It goes right in here. And it's really hard, I just want you to know that. I've just been doing it for a long time, so don't worry if you struggle with it. The poll pad, the camera on the poll pad, you want it to face it up. What I do is I lay this flat, push in these two buttons, and it connects the poll pad on there. So I'm not trying to juggle the poll pad. And then it just snaps off. But putting it on there up in the air can be kind of... Oh, okay. Training. It doesn't like my fingers. Okay. The word. So then the next one, you'll have your card holder for the IDs. If we put this on right, it will go back here and slides on there, and that's where your camera kind of helps you, because it'll go on this other way, but you won't have a camera. If you put it on backwards, just rearrange it. Yeah, because I hear everybody's did it. Then your stylus will just go in there. It does have a charger at the bottom, so you'll just plug it in. It's like a big iPhone, iPad is all it is. And they'll have charging. Oh, yes, please. Before I get all ahead of myself. Let's see. All right, and opening procedures. So here we get a little bit of an up close look at these reminders. The printer must be connected to the pull pad. That's the only way. It's Bluetooth, and like I said, if that red printer is red and you try to turn it on and you've plugged it in and still have problems, call the office. We'll have somebody come out and help you, because that does have to be on, but they all have been tested to be before they're sent out to make sure that that works. And it'll say printer connected on there, and we'll see the other pictures here in a minute. But you want to make sure the check-in count is 0, because there shouldn't be anybody checked in on those pull pads before you all get there on Tuesday morning. I can tell you probably the battery life is not going to be full, close to 90%, because we have locked and loaded them up, trying to get that checked off our list of things to do before election. So just plug them up. We send out a power strip with the cords and the boxes out. So most of them have to be plugged up anyways, even if we did charge them the night before sending them out. We've had them for 9 years. So everybody can imagine how long, if you have your cell phone that long, and the battery stays that way. So when you're processing a voter, it has on there about the expiration date of 11/5/24. You'll place the barcode facing the poll pad so it can scan if the voter wants it to scan. If not, they don't have to put it in there. You can just look at it and manually enter them in there. And you can see in this first slide here, it says scan barcode, and then the next one says manual entry. So it's both on the screen. Yes. They will, you'll follow the little thing, so we'll get to put in the passwords. Do you know what the passwords are? Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna scan his IDs. And in training mode, if you come up here and you try to scan your ID or enter your name, you may or may not be in there. It's just a training database, so not all the voters are in there, so don't fear. You're probably registered, because I've went through most everybody on the list so far. So let's see where we at. Okay, so it pulls him up. It's gonna ask if his address has changed. So you have changed or unchanged. So if you click unchanged, let's see, hold on. Yeah, just give you a little, okay. And then as long as he still lives on that road, you'll push accept. And this is where you would turn it around to the voter, because it says Democrat and Republican. So you would turn it around to them. They would make their selection. Once they make their selection, they're going to touch accept, or you can assist them and touch accept for them. And then they will sign their name and then push done signing, and it'll be you'll turn it back to you, and you can compare their signatures.
Could you run an example, if their address has changed?
Has changed? Uh-huh.
So do the barcode, put your name, your ID in there.
Hold on, put me in there because it won't.
Ask
Yeah, because I
if
checked
that's
you
still
in.
their address.
It won't bring you back up.
Oh, I see.
So sometimes I don't come up. Okay, so I did. Okay, so we pulled it up, whether we scanned it or manually, and we're gonna put address has changed. because that's not where I live anymore. And then it's gonna say, was this form completed? So it's telling you you need a VRG 412. So at that moment, you'll wait for the inspector to have them come over to give them a paper. They'll go to a table to fill that out. But you're going to click go back and get back out to check in the next voter. And then once that voter fills that 412 out, the inspector will bring them back to the front of the line. They won't have to go back to the back of the line because they've already stood their time in line. They just needed to fill out a form. Mm-hmm. And then you'll push continue once you get back to that step, and it goes to the same, just what we did after that. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Are there any like unacceptable signatures, like X or just scribble?
I would say it's whatever they can, as long as you've checked their ID to verify that it's them. Their signatures can change due to having illness, sign on a poll pad compared to paper.
The state tells us straight up that we're not signature specialists.
Thank you. That's what I was.
So they tell us you can look at it, but the real kicker is going to be looking at their ID. That's why they require the face, the picture, so that you can make sure.
And is there a pen they use to sign, that pen that's in the picture?
Stylus, yeah. You can use the stylus or the finger.
They can use this or their finger.
Whichever one. It's not, it's fine. I'm used to using my finger. Yes.
I have a question about the expiration date for the IDs.
Yes.
Am I understanding this correctly that if it's expired on 11/1 of 2024, they are allowed to vote, but if it's expired?
No.
It has to be after.
It has to be after that
11/5.
date.
Well, passed as in before that.
Yeah.
Date. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has to be more recent than the previous general election.
And like she said, we've had voters down at the courthouse with expired license. I didn't realize we'd had that many. Oh. So then we're changing the receipt paper. Yes. And like I said, changing the receipt paper, it just pops open. The secret is, if you run out, take this little black thing out or it won't close. Have a few of them. Okay. See, we've learned. Because you call and go, it won't fit in there. You sent me the wrong receipt tape. And I'll be like, well, look in there and see if there's this little black thing. Guess what? Hey, we need that kind of laugh. So, and then you just stick it back in there and it'll, when it's plugged in, it processes and cuts it off.
Well, you can do a test, just, on the printer. And test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make sure it's okay.
Oh, see, he's got his plugged in. So, yeah.
There's a button over here that says feed on the front, and it'll just feed just enough.
Or it's on the
Poll pad.
too.
So, it does say close and test print. I'm glad you're reading the instructions. I'm just used to it going and I'm like, okay, check in the next person. Let's go. Okay, so the sync cloud. This is that important cloud. You'll get tired of it because I always put somebody in charge of watching the clouds. When they get to about an hour and a half, you're going to get a phone call. As long as I have time. Sometimes it may be a little bit longer. But we do give some time and then we will call and try to walk you through it if there's not somebody next to you that doesn't know how to do it. And yes, if that fails and we will send somebody out to help you. Like it won't, I was like, we go everywhere. Because sometimes it just needs somebody else there to stand there because you're not standing on the right foot or whatever. I don't know. But we will come and rescue you. But like I said, the voters can still vote if that cloud is red. Do not turn them away. All right. And then the closing procedures. You get to take this apart and fit it back in here. That's a game. Yeah, so you might want to take a picture of it. Oh, look, the password is in here. So, see, this is the little slip with your password. But there'll be somebody there to tighten it up, and it will close and be in there. I do ask that if we can, it's 6 o'clock on election night. Put the iPad in here facing this way so we don't crack the screen. We've learned. So, anything else, just make sure you get it in there. We'll figure it out. We'll clean it up. So, yeah, that's your next thing, fitting something back into that box. All right. Like I said before, don't worry, you'll do great. The poll pad system is very simple. Once you use it, it can be intimidating. I think setting it up is the worst part, really. Once you get it going, it's pretty, it stays okay. If you have any questions, again, call the office. You can call the clerk's office. Even on election day, you as clerks can call our office if you have a question. The inspectors call us all the time, but if you as a clerk have a question and you don't want to ask the inspector to call us, you can call us. We will take calls from the clerks. So don't feel like you can't call the office because you're not an inspector.
Inspectors know that.
Yes,
Okay.
We tell them.
we tell them.
Okay.
So, the next thing, we'll kind of just go through this real fast. It's a checklist. Everybody gets one of these, and yellow obviously is inspectors, blue is your Democrat judge, pink is clerks, and green is for all the workers and the Republican judges. I feel bad because the Republican judges are kind of just out here doing their thing, but they are needed. But it's hard to list them anywhere because the Democrat judge and the inspector are kind of a team. So that's who's doing all the balancing and checks of the ballots and such. So you as a clerk and as an all worker, clerks usually don't go and set up on Monday night. Your inspector may ask you if you want to. That would be great. It lets them get it set up faster. You kind of can see where you're walking into on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, and get that all set up, but it's not required that you do that. Let's see, Democrat, all workers. So election day, you're required to meet at the polling location at 5 a.m. On the next page, you'll set up the poll pads, turn them on, log in. The numbers of check-in should be 0 before 6 a.m. The judges can help you. Like I said, everybody kind of helps each other. We just kind of give everybody a direction so nobody's just standing there not knowing what to do. All the workers will organize the ballot table and separate the precincts and the parties. You're gonna ask for use the clock on the poll pad as the official time. So we don't use our little battery watch, we use the poll pad to know when to open up the polls. So everybody's on the same 6 a.m. Clerks, you'll ask for the ID and obtain any required residency documentation as noted on the poll pad. While checking in the voters, direct the voter to the inspector for assistance if the following occurs. The ID doesn't meet the requirements, they need a pre-3. To perform a manual search, once again with your 3 letters of your last name and 3 letters of your first name. If you're having issues, you can still call the registration office because you never know. We could sit here all day and think of stuff, but usually we can figure it out. And you can call the office if you have any problems. The voter's address on their ID does not have to match the address on their poll pad. That is a very question offered. So they may have a Scott County address, but they're registered here in Clark County now. That ID is still good. Most people will not go get an ID, I've learned in the past few years, until it expires. No matter if they move 3 times, they're going to have that address from wherever they lived before. But that ID is just to verify that it's them. So that's all we're using the IDs for. Once again, shows you on this list, you will not ask the voter their party. You will turn that around. So we'll do that. Tells you to initial both of the back side of the ballots. You'll give the voter the precinct receipt that prints from the poll pad to make sure that they get the correct ballot if they're going to a different table. If you're given the ballots, you'll just keep that receipt and just make sure that you're giving them the right ballot. Each poll pad will have baggies, and once again, each poll pad will have a baggie. They all can go in one baggie. They don't need to be separated, so don't worry yourself about that. Just get them back in the baggie and we'll be fine. Greet and welcome the voters. We try to make sure that that's something everybody does because sometimes it's hard for that to happen. But anyways, Work together to ensure the poll booths are stocked with black pens throughout the day. And make sure you're able to get up. Most of the time, that's what the judge does. Make sure that it's clean of literature, because they can't bring in literature from anybody electioneering outside. That needs to be thrown away. Can't stay in the poll booths, and it will get left behind. People just leave it and not realizing that they can't do that. But all you do is go get it when there's not a voter in there and throw it away. Don't do it while there's a voter standing in the booth. That's not what you want to do. Just wait till they're done.
One of the issues we had is they kept taking all the black pens.
Yeah.
You don't holler at, you have trouble finding a pen.
Yeah, we've stocked them well, and if you need more, just call us. I'll have somebody run you out some. But yeah, you either have them take all the pins or they leave all the pins. You just never know. Or they'll bring in pins that somebody's electioneering, and we gotta take those off too, because they'll say vote or elect or something on them. So just kind of be aware. But they do have to be a blue or a black pen to vote on the ballot. Let's see, and then at the close of the polls, you may be asked to stand at the back, or it may be a judge. It just depends on who it is. Like I said before, you'll tell their inspectors the number of check-ins on the poll pad. Then that's located in the middle of the poll pad. Like this one says 0 because I didn't get checked in yet. And it tells you that we have 95,459 registered in Clark County. It's a lot of voters. Clean and reset the polling location. We talked about that. Once that's all done, they'll tell you that you can leave. You're all the clerk, so disassemble the poll pads. You'll put those back. They'll come with a tag, with a security tag on them. Now, when you put them up for the evening, you do not have to put the security tag back on them, because we actually take them out at the courthouse that night to make sure that they've updated and all the voters have been sent over. So we don't need them security tagged. And then once your duties are all done, you're done to go, or done, finished for the night. I'm done for the day. So material, you don't do the material or the drop off with them. And once again, the county election board's phone number is on here if you would like to ask them a question. And once again, the voter registration phone numbers are on there if you have any questions before, after, or during the election. Does anybody have any questions?
About what people wear.
Oh, yes, thank you. See, I know, I always got my workers and they give me, to come into the polling location, this election, per se, because this is usually a question, they can wear presidential stuff. So the Make America Great Again, that can all be worn because it's not on the ballot this time. But say they come in with a shirt that says elect Ryan Lynch, guess what? They got to go back out, or they got to cover that up because he's on the ballot. So
And tell me who it is, because they know better.
he just happened to be my victim. But like, yeah, so if they come in, so just kind of make yourself aware of who's on the ballot. Usually during this, the presidentials are our hardest because everybody wears it on a daily and they don't realize it. So just be aware. I think at the courthouse we've had one or two, and it was like a little sticker or something. You know what? Nothing big, but just be aware of that. Yes. So anything else that I missed? Come on, you and Mary Jo got me. Come on.
No, I asked my question.
Okay.
We do ask, like, we had the point where she had talked about dressing in layers.
Oh.
And we do ask not to bring, like, a big blanket and, like, to, throw it over your shoulders. And
wear your pajamas.
we have had people do that, and we have had complaints. It's a professional, semi-professional environment, and we just want it to be, used as such.
I've said it before in training. Welcome them like they're at your house. But, my house is messy, but try to keep it clean like you got company coming. Yes.
What we do at the courthouse, we always try to recognize veterans.
Oh,
if they have their veterans cap or whatever, we always say thank you for your service. So that's just something to keep in mind.
They also make a big deal about people voting for the first time.
Yeah.
I had to take the bell away from them because it drove me crazy. But they clap and hoot and holler. So, and everybody wants a sticker. It's not official till you get that I voted sticker.
Yeah.
So make sure you have those.
Stickers last time, really early.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? just call and we'll bring you some more of those. We've loaded them up with over 1,000 in each box, plus some. But yeah, and they're, I think, are they the larger ones that made it into the box this time?
It was a mix of the smaller ones and.
It just depends on what precinct. That's right. Yeah, we have some of the older ones and the newer ones are bigger. So if you don't have any questions, you're free to go.
And is
Oh,
there,
yes,
if there's 2 or 3 precincts, there's usually only 1 inspector, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yes. The only place that there's 2 inspectors is River Valley and Renaissance Academy. And that's because there's 6, 7 precincts at each location. So we've just kind of give them backup. Yeah. But everybody else has 1 inspector. Yes.
I'm just curious why there's, I mean, it seems like the Democrat judge has a lot to do and the Republican judge doesn't. Why is that?
To keep it bipartisan because the inspector is a Republican.
Oh.
So the Democrat judges get paid a little more since they have to come back to the courthouse. So there is a pay difference in that position. No,
I was just curious.
No, you're good. That's the difference. So if you want to come up and we can disassemble these, whoever needs a refresher course or a new, oh, hold on.
Last thing I did want to touch on, new this year, we were able to get the training pay approved, so everybody does get paid for showing up for training. Thank you.
Thanks to him.
So one thing that we do require, and it's kind of because of the State Board of Accounts, we want to make sure that we have everyone checked in and checked out. So as you're leaving, make sure you tell them your name so that we have the timestamp of when you came and when you left.
Yes.
That's something that the State Board of Accounts really wants us to track so that we're paying the right individuals who's here.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll get $25 for coming here on top of.
Well, I think it's worded a little weird.
Oh, I see.
Like, if you don't stay, we have inspectors that will literally come for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's where if you stay the whole time, you get the $25.
Right.
If you come for your 15 minutes to show your face, you're not going to get it. That's more of my inspector trainings than my clerk trainings.
Right.
Yeah. My inspectors like to show up and exit stage left.
So yeah, we have these up here. If anybody wants to come try it out, you're welcome to. If not, you're welcome to leave. And we appreciate you all coming out.
Thank you.